in Blaha here. Going to get my second walk-in. The first one was an hour 40 minutes. Yeah, we're making good time. It's not even 7 a.m. We're at the second walk. So yeah, I got started really early, started at 4:30. But this works out really, really well. Especially getting these early mornings in lets me be really productive. The fasted walking, like we're just burning through body fat, definitely getting leaner. That was funny, I had someone come in, is the scale going back up? I'm like, no, I'm staying at the same weight. I have a feeling I'm about to whoosh though. So I feel like if this is a nice, good walk, it's a nice long one, I break a sweat, the weigh in, I may be at a low. And yeah, I've started doing those for a lot of it because I used to do all my weigh-ins at like 7, 8 a.m. anyways. So for my baseline. So, it's all good. But again, getting leaner, even though, like I said, it's been 2 weeks since the scale went down. I'm down like 16 or so really from the high down to the low. The carbed up after, because that initial weigh-in I was on lower carbs. But we carbed up for the cut. But yeah, waist is smaller again though this week. So just in terms of using my lifting belts as a metric, how loose they are with different notches. The waist is probably smallest it's been in 10 years, short of that water cut for the meets. So yeah, so in spite of no weight loss for 2 weeks, my waistline is smaller. Still factoring in the creatine and everything, but I think we're going to get a whoosh coming up. So I think after this walk, if I can get sweaty during it, if it's a nice long one, I'll step on the scale and see if we have lost any weight, right? If I do, it'll be a very small whoosh, just looking for a pound. But that's kind of something I'm okay with the other two of going 2 weeks in my cut with no scale loss, but my waist is smaller. That's a win, right? But yeah, I am thinking of throwing some sissy squats, something in at the end of the full body workouts, because my quads and legs might, I think my quads have definitely gotten a little smaller, but I also wasn't doing enough leg work part of that cut with the hours of cardio. But I feel like some sissy squats would possibly get a little more volume now that I'm doing 9 sets of squats a week every day, per week, because I'm doing 3 sets each workout now. But yeah, so what I'm doing for those who aren't following this so far, my non-training days, I'm getting up super early and hitting the cardio really, really hard. And that seemed to have helped a lot just in terms of this weekend, right? Because I didn't whoosh, but I did 4 hours of fasted cardio, fasted walking specifically on Sunday. Because I always walk if it's a preference. I don't like the bike, but it's financially I'm going to need to start doing more of the bike because I can double stream. I can do 2 different platforms. And it runs more ads. Like this app sucks for the phone. We can't get all the settings we get on the desktop. But I like walking outside. But yeah, so I did 4 hours of the walking and I seem to have gotten even tighter from that, even though the scale didn't go down. But, and it also lets me experiment more with, a lot of people do claim that their intermittent fasting did tighten skin up more. But I've always said to people, loose skin isn't just skin, and they have to understand that. It's fat. So it's like, I get people who are like, well, I had the loose skin surgery, and like, yeah, but how much weight was all of it? They're like, well, they took 12 pounds off. Okay, skin doesn't weigh anything. So if they cut 12 pounds of loose skin off, you'd realize that's not even a pound of fat, right? Or a pound of skin, that's all fat still. So we have to keep that in context, with loose skin and fat loss. We have to just keep getting leaner. I'm skipping my workout and exercise, need motivation. Get your lazy ass to the gym. All right, first of all, Mr. Reactor, I have coaching slots open. This is one reason that people need coaches. I get that all the time. People who are like, why do people need coaches if they already know how to lift? Okay, well, maybe they can learn to lift better. But number 2, it's you don't need motivation anymore. You have accountability with a coach. It's our job to stay on top of it. So you need motivation. This is part of my job as a coach. Like some of my clients who are happy with certain programs, we don't change their programming for long periods of time. And I've had long-term clients who are happy with that. And that's the ones that I can keep them on simple programming. I don't need to razzle dazzle them. They're like, just like, I don't care if you change my program or not, as long as I keep getting results. But then they also have accountability, because they're paying a coach to keep them accountable too. It's one thing I pointed out, a lot of people are like, well, you don't ever use a coach. Why don't you? You know, a lot of coaches hire coaches for events. Because I don't need the accountability. They're doing it for accountability. I have a blog everything, so I have an audience that sees every workout I do year round. Right? I've been vlogging my workouts for like 6+ years. Every single workout. I'm even vlogging this cardio. So I have accountability. If I don't put up an upload on a workout day, people are gonna message me. I'm gonna have stuff in my DMs. I'm gonna have clients in my DMs. So I have accountability already. So in your case though, hit me up on my Facebook. I link it under everything, or you can hit me up on Instagram and DM me. It's linked under all my videos. You need coaching, I will get you accountable, because you just said, I need exercise motivation. Well, I'm a coach. Appreciate the like, Carol. So you're asking someone who is a professional motivator and accountability guy. Well, my services are available. So if that's what you need, then hire me. Right? Then you definitely stay motivated too, because you're also paying for it. You're financially invested. Yeah. Silva says, hi, hello, Silva, whatever. Close enough. Coach is walking. I'm hoping we get a nice long cardio out of this, and I'm hoping it gets a little warmer and I sweat a little. This weather's really nice. Right? This is really nice weather today. I don't know what the temperature is. It must be down. We're not having a heat wave. I'm getting so used to the really hot heat that this is probably cold. How often are you walking? I don't care about zones. I don't care about heart rate. I don't track it. Not relevant. I do list cardio. How long are we walking? With one of the regulars, Carol, would you like to tell him how long we walk? No. All right. Our baseline, it's not about walking. It's about list cardio. I mix bike and walking, because some days I can't walk at all. The weather doesn't permit it. On my cut right now, lifting days. So you ready, Justin? Lifting days, the baseline, we shoot for 2 hours post-workout. Non-lifting days, the baseline is 3, but I've been hitting 4 a lot more lately. So this allows me to continue to cut and eat 3,000 plus calories every day. And I'm down 16 pounds in my cut doing this so far. Let's get it, Coach. What's up, Rufio? Rufio, this is the second one. We did an hour 40. I started the first walk at 4:30 a.m. This is walk number 2. We're going to hit our 3 hours pretty easy on just 2 walks. Damn, that's a lot of cardio. So, and that's kind of the point. This is how we're going to get ripped Blaha coach. We go from 48-year-old power lifter to 48-year-old ripped tiny waist dude. So because of the size of my back, I think the V-taper is going to be real solid if I drop down to 190. So we started the cut at technically 227. Well, I'm at 211. I'm going to weigh in after this. I may have a whoosh. Let's get to 190. Of course, I've said long term I may drop to even 185 and just be shredded and just stay. But I need to stay under 200 pounds indefinitely. That's the goal. It's just be 50 in a year and a half. So I need to be under 200 pounds. Super clean diet, stay on top of the cardio. All right. But yeah, Rufio, we're coming along with it. I mean, it's a ways to go. I'm not shredded now. But I also have the loose skin to deal with, and there's always going to be fat in the loose skin from having been fat before. But that can be tightened up if you just get lean enough. And people aren't grasping that. They're like, I am lean and I still have the loose skin. I'm like, you're not lean enough, because the loose skin has fat weight to it. How long did it take you to lose the weight you currently have lost? In this cut, or are you talking about the original 150 pounds I lost and I was like 20? I've been doing about 2 pounds a week. But it's been 2 weeks since any weight loss. But I've also added creatine, and I'm still in the big deficit. It's just that it's kind of held some extra water. So it should be whooshing back down soon. I've been doing 2 pounds a week. The 150 pounds probably took me a year and a half originally. I lost 100 pounds in the first year though. That was been a lifetime. I'm only estimating because it's been 25 years, plus years. So it can be a little difficult to, give you exact numbers. I don't have a notebook with it written down. So yeah. Right, so I'm 16 pounds deep into a cut while still eating 3,000 calories a day. Again, the beauty of cardio when you have muscle. Yeah. Beauty of cardio. But I'm doing it this way instead of fat burners. Like I keep getting people, you could use a GLP, you could use some clen, and I'm like, let's just do it this way, and then I don't have any rebound. Rufio, it's too hard to drop the cows. Like I could try, but I'm gonna get up and binge in the middle of the afternoon. Like it's just, there's a limit for me of my hunger. You see the issue? I'm already bad about like slipping in and let me take another bite of chicken. Let me grab a mouthful of dry oats. Like I'm bad about that already. So if I try to force down, if I'm not super careful, I'm gonna binge like crazy even on my healthy foods in the evening. So and I'm trying to get a little bit out of that. Oh, let's come back. The fast one is over. Let's just take a couple bites of this chicken, So that's the problem. I try to drop it lower. People who've never been truly overweight don't understand the appetite of a fat person. This is why stuff like flexible dieting doesn't work for entire demographics of people. So I've got to be very, very careful with that, of trying to go too low. It's like I would much rather, like I've done, just bump more cardio in, bonus cardio, throw extra cardio is a better solution for me, right? I did that yesterday, because I was wanting to grab a little bit more, and I ended up grabbing a little. Let me go take a bonus walk because I know I'm going to eat a couple hundred extra calories. Let me go for another 15-minute walk just somewhere. So that's how we have to deal with it. So in my case, it really is that bottomless pit appetite. And I may just have to keep adding more and more vegetables, So yeah. But I also think some of the little bit of the stall too is the inflammation from all of the walking and the cardio and the training. That's why sooner or later it will have a big whoosh eventually. We just keep going, and that's the thing. We just keep going with it. But I do have to be very careful of trying to drop calories significantly lower, because it'll kind of cause that. But that happens in normal people too. Like we saw that in the metabolic ward, right? Why do people not lose weight on ultra low calorie diets? Because binge and forget it. Like you remember those studies where they did that? All these women thought they were doing 1,400 calorie diets, but they filmed them in the ward 24 hours a day. So they had the cameras everywhere. They couldn't escape the cameras. And they were literally getting binge amnesia, where they could pass a polygraph and then they would show them their binges and they had no memory of it. But they caught them on camera and their memory was completely gone of the binges that they did. They're like, I know I only ate one cookie, and they ate a 2,700 calorie pack of cookies. And they were sure beyond a shadow of a doubt they ate one and put the package back. Coach, you need to start linking some of these studies. No, because then I got to dig them back up. And then I don't, all right, let me put it this way. I will never link a study again on YouTube. After the crazy stuff I went through that one time on YouTube, I'm not ever going to risk my channel linking studies ever again. It's just not worth. People being too lazy to go Google a study isn't worth me risking a strike on my channel. I have too much financial investment to risk it. And I don't care that other people get away with it. I don't get away with it. For some reason, YouTube has a hard on for me linking studies with their AI. Like if so, I had that happen where I linked a study and contested it and they reversed it 12 times. I had to contest it 12 times and then they reversed it and their AA caught it again and decided me linking a study was a violation, directing traffic outside of YouTube. And it says, I've just stopped. I'll never link a study again. I'm just not doing it. Like to me, it's not like it could literally ruin my life. Like if my YouTube got terminated, this major source of my income and outreach and client acquisition over linking studies, when people are just too lazy to go Google a study themselves, I'm not doing it. It's just not worth the risk to me. And I don't know why. It was Baylor College of Medicine. They didn't like me linking Baylor College of Medicine for whatever reason underneath, in the description. And the reason for it is not the linking the study, it's because the video is about the study. All right, so here's what the AI kept catching. It is against YouTube's policy to make a video for the express purpose of directing traffic away from YouTube. So their AI was catching the fact that I made a video about a study and then linking the study as an attempt to direct traffic away from YouTube to another website. There's the purpose of the video, even though the purpose of the video was to educate about the topic. So people are like, yeah, but that was years and years ago. It's like, I don't care. I'm just not doing it. I've retold this story numerous times though when people ask that and they get upset and they're like, but Vegan Gains link studies, and it's like, I don't care. And believe me, and people are like, well, that just sounds like a cop-out. I'm like, no, really, it would be easier for me to just link the studies than to retell the story. Just not doing it. Plus, the beauty of it, I'm not in college. I don't ever have to link or cite a study the rest of my life. Oh, man. Yeah. I hated that, by the way. Freaking citing your sources, oh my God. I just like to read the studies and just retain the data and rediscuss it. Just read everything, and then you keep a library in your brain. But I thought that was fascinating, but it makes sense. You look at our mechanisms to help us survive starvation. It's fascinating. And plus the other thing is I'm trying to not make this difficult. So as far as my cut goes, I'm not standing here trying to suffer. The point is, it's like I'm trying to do stuff where I keep the metabolic rate as high as possible, keep the hunger as in check as possible, and just do fairly enjoyable cardio and multitask with it. So in my case, I can stream with you guys, chat with you guys, document it, count it as business, and justify it as work time. Because I technically get paid for all these small amounts, but then it gets followers, clients, outreach, sell consultations, and stuff in the lives. So I can justify it as business. But the other thing is, if we can keep calories as high as possible on a cut, we get better recovery. We get better antioxidants and nutrients from the food because I'm doing all whole food. And then we don't get the risk of metabolic slowdown. So then it becomes a case of, instead of rebounding on a cut, what happens? We just ease up on the cardio, right? You back off on the cardio while still keeping the food the same then. So it's, you know, and then we're not risking a rebound at the end of the cut. Especially we get into this whole, let's bring calories up now, you know. Yeah. Because I'm not doing a contest cut where I want to get a certain body weight and then we rebulk right back up. Like, it's not what we're doing. So my goal with it is to burn the fat off and just keep it off and stay near those body weights. So I'm taking a different approach. So I'm thinking in terms of what's going to keep my metabolic rate as high as possible, and simply using less cardio while keeping fiber, keeping carbs ultra high, keeping the training dialed in is the strategy. So then we just basically use the cardio as just a freebie to just take the fat down. We just create the deficit through the activity. And so it's completely different, right? Completely different in terms of the metabolic difference. Hit that like for Coach. Tell them, Peppermint, get on top of it. We're already past 2 hours for the morning. I see Rufio's in the building. Yep. Rufio is in here. We'll see how this stream does. I may not sweat enough to get a whoosh. It's not hot enough. I'm getting so used to the heat that just when it's warm, it feels nice and comfortable. Like, to me, it's like, oh, this is just beautiful, perfect weather. It's probably 80 something. I don't know. I didn't check. It just doesn't feel hot. You know. It's also worrying, though, maybe metabolic slowdown. No. You're going to have some metabolic adaptation. It is unavoidable. But generally, stuff like just doing less cardio is your safe bet. Right? Only 3 likes on the screen. I only see 2. You know, there's only so much we can do with it. We had a guy in the first live going about why Coach is not wearing a shirt, right? Why are people so bothered? It's just so weird. Me living where I live, it's just, in my culture, it's such a strange commentary, right? It would be like one of you Brits doing a British video, and then someone going on and on about you drinking tea. You know, it's just not ethical to drink tea. It's inappropriate to drink tea. Oh my God, are there children nearby? You know, they're seeing you drink tea. You know, there's caffeine. That's an addictive drug in that tea. Those children are seeing that. You're a terrible person. You would think they were crazy. Yeah. You know. But I just need to get rid of it. At least it gives us something funny to talk about. Because I've been just band heavy. I don't need putting up with nonsense in general. Get those likes in for Debbie. There you go. How you doing? Peppermint's probably doing good. Everybody's doing good. Man. But we don't know what we'll get for views. The first one did okay. It cleared about 300 views so far. We'll see what happens. See how these go. Just be chill. Well, you got Rufio and Peppermint. You guys need coaching is what y'all need. You know. You guys need to just hire me. Right? Y'all are in here all the time anyways. You listen to Coach. And you get on Team Blaha. Do you ever go live with fans? You can't. I mean, no, I don't do fan. I've occasionally Facebook if they're coaches and stuff. You guys don't have big YouTube channels. There's a minimum subscriber count for you to add someone to your live on YouTube. You guys don't have like 10,000 subscribers or followers yet. So I literally couldn't bring you in a live if I wanted. So I don't remember the number, it's something thousands. So you can't just take a random person and add them to a YouTube live. They have to have a channel with a fan base. Plus I got to be careful of risking certain stuff though. I can't just risk people I don't know at all. Because honestly, you guys could literally get my channel in trouble. So, for example, if I were to let somehow a troll were to ease their way into getting on my live stream, right? And I were to bring them into a video and it's live and therefore I can't get rid of it, and they just started screaming the N-word nonstop 50 times until I hit the off button, would my channel get a potential strike for it? Because I broadcasted someone saying the N-word 15 times through my channel. Is that a strikeable offense? Another reason they want that is because that person doing it is risking a problem for their channel, so they're hopefully not going to do it if they've accumulated a following and a channel they've built up. So there is that. You know. But I always have to think like that because of just problems I have out there. I have to be careful who has access to anything, you know, anything related to any of my work. You have to think in those terms. Because you're giving other people, so same thing, if you're like, oh, you could hire me to do whatever for your videos, and I'm like, I'm giving you access to my work. I'm giving you the ability to hurt my business. I'm giving you the ability to copyright strike me. So, you know, you hire someone to edit your videos and then they own them and can prove it, and you upload them, and then they get angry at you and they submit multiple copyright claims against your channel. And they, you know, with their little bit of evidence there that they made the videos. You could lose years of your work. So, you know, you can just give people access. The same reason why you don't make anyone a mod, exactly. Right. Right? Again, you have to think about these things. You know? Right? You just make someone a mod who they seem trustworthy, they've worked their way in, and then they're a crazy troll, you know? And then they have the ability to ban and unban people in your stuff. Protect your stuff at all times, coach. Stay vigilant, exactly. It's not just my situation. There's a person I've always thought was funny. Her YouTube was hilarious. Her Facebook was hilarious. She's got a Facebook of millions of followers. And she was married to a guy. They had a kid together. She did comedy stuff. I'm going to say this for who it is. And during a lot of their proceedings, he stole her page and did stuff that got her strikes, caused her problems, did stuff claiming to be her on there, and then she finally got access to it, and he caused permanent harm to her outreach, her fan base, her monetization. You know, And when you start talking about a YouTube or a Facebook that has millions of followers, somebody messing with that is, we're not talking normal people money, okay? I don't think people understand how much earning potential a 3 million follower YouTuber Facebook has. I just don't think the average person comprehends that. They're probably thinking, oh, they're making middle class, upper working class income off that. No, they're wealthy. By objective standards, that person is in the top 5%. Did any of your exes try? Hey, Rufio, why would I tell you any of that? Why are you digging into my personal life? But no, they didn't. But why would you think that you're privy to my personal life to that degree? Just because you're a good follower. All right. Can 10 by 3 work once a week on the big list without getting? It can, but it might beat you up. Depends on how you're recovering with it, what the lifts are. I mean, I've done it just fine. So it's totally workable. But the question is, can it work versus will you not get beat up? Well, no, there's no guarantee you won't get beat up. How hard are you going? What's everything look like? What's your diet look like? What's your sleep look like? I think people, when they ask those questions too, they only think of the programming in. Two, you have to factor in the lifestyle of if it's beating you up. Does deadlift sometimes make I don't know. I guess because there's a lot of intra-abdominal pressure. Ever thought of Ice Cream Fitness 3.0? I mean, I have, but I don't know what I want to do with it just yet. Thought about it. I'm not an anti-woman person, Rufio, but, you know, no, I've not had those sort of issues, but there have been certain issues with some of it, but not that. But again, that's very much my personal life. Keep in mind, I've had entire girlfriends and relationships the internet doesn't know about. And I'm glad. I'm glad. That's been my goal. You know. You know. Yep. Oh. Threes are pretty fun. Yeah, threes can definitely be fun. Just keep in mind, 10 triples, if they're fairly heavy, it's gonna. So, I mean, with the beating you up, I guess that's a good question, you know. How heavy are they? What are you doing with it, you know? Now, if you're gonna go moderately heavy with them, though, that's gonna take a long time to do 10 triples. Okay. So let's assume we're going into rep ranges where you're hitting upper threshold fibers on the first rep. So let's say you're at 85%. You ain't doing that with 2 minutes break. You might for the first couple, but you'll be too fatigued by the end to make it to the end even with 10-minute breaks. So you have to space them out. So do the math on it. Let's assume 3 to 4 minutes between sets. That's gonna take you a little while. 10 triples is a brutal, and I mean, I've done it. You know, I've definitely done it. You know, it's doable. But, you know, you don't necessarily have to do that many. I could make the case that we don't necessarily need more than 3 sets of any exercise. I mean, so let's say we scaled stuff down. What if a person said, hey, I just want to get really jacked with a great body and be strong on a full body? I mean, here's one. You could literally, probably for most people, as long as they don't have an arm imbalance, you know, if they're starting off fairly balanced, you could squat, deadlift, bench, weighted chins, weighted dips. For those 5 exercises, call it a workout and do that 3 times a week. I mean, really, let's do 3 sets. You could do only 1 of the deadlift, you could do 3. But even then, let's say you did 3 sets, that's 15 work sets 3 times a week. I mean, realistically speaking, how close could a person get to their potential just doing that? Those 5 movements 3 times a week on a full body for no more than 3 sets. Well, how about cutting it down to 5 by 3? That's 15. I mean, still keep in mind, a lot of triples, man. You have to be careful with all those triples. They can beat you up. But then at this point, you're not condensing that body part to once. I mean, I'm not saying you can't do it, feed me. You're certainly free to experiment with it. And I've done my share, you know. I'm not saying 10 triples doesn't work. Yeah, it's something you're only going to do once a week. It's usually where you see this 10 triple shine is almost on a body part type split. Focus around that one lift, you know, within some secondary work. Like you could do it with a squat bench deadlift. You can do it with a squat bench and a press. You're gonna get less chest. You're gonna need some dips or something in there. But you could do it off of 3 lifts, spread them out, and then do all your secondary work around that. But I think the take home there is, though, is it efficient in terms of, could you got that same strength just doing 1 heavy set and then doing hypertrophy work? Could you have done 5s or 8s or something for a lot less and gotten similar hypertrophy? You know, it's no problem with the 10 triples or even the higher volumes of triples. It's just that relative to the beat upness that you experience compared to the hypertrophy that you could have got from a little more reps with less sets, and then you could have got the neural drive off of 1 heavy set or single or double or triple for the whole week, is kind of the point. I'm just saying the other could be a little more efficient. Neutral, we don't discuss pew talk at all. We can't have any discussion of that at all in the streams. I have to ban people. It kills my algorithm. So just an FYI. Yeah. And technically it's called hand loading is the term. All right. Sometimes I go back to Leroy Colbert videos, many great advices. I mean, interesting figure, but he's again an older school guy. He got a lot of stuff wrong because it's like he just didn't know better with provable data. So I liked a lot of his stuff. He's a decent guy. He actually seemed to like me too. He liked my work. He gave me shout outs. The problem is, you know, he had some decent weight room experience. The problem was he didn't understand some basic stuff. It's the lack of science knowledge. You know, it was like the stuff on supplements as an example. Because he got upset when people said glutamine doesn't work. I remember that. Like, what do you mean they use it? How can you say glutamine doesn't work? They prescribe it, and doctors prescribe it in a medical setting. He got all indignant about it. But glutamine doesn't work for building muscle. It doesn't do anything. And we have plenty of evidence to support that idea. It does nothing for muscle protein synthesis or recovery, really, as a supplement. And they do use it in medical settings. And the reason they use it in the medical setting actually explains why it doesn't do anything for muscles. Right? The dude had some serious arms. Right? So I mean, here's a perfect response to that sort of thing when people will say that with the glutamine. Well, why is it used in medical settings? What is the specific role? Usually after surgery on your gut. So any sort of surgery on your intestinal lining. Ezekiel, no, I don't plan on taking up running. I don't feel like explaining why again. I'm tired of explaining why. No offense, I just don't want to go through it again. I just sound like a broken record on it, you know. So can I just leave it at no? All right, cool, thank you. So much, I can be so much more polite. Sometimes I feel like a broken record with certain things, so I don't like to explain the same thing 50 times. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you asking. I'm not upset with you. It's just that it's kind of a topic where I'm just tired of answering it. Is it much more fun than okay. No, it's not. All right. Ezekiel, I used to be a distance runner. You already know this. All right. Don't plan on running again. All right. That being said, back to the glutamine thing. Right. I know people are like, you need to try this. And I'm just like, it's great for your shoulders. It's healthy. Like really, I got a shoulder impingement doing that 6 years ago. And they don't know how to respond. Oh, so you've tried it. Yes. People think they're going to come up with something I haven't done. Like the odds of that, something training related that I haven't tried. I've been doing this over 25 years. Yeah, coaches never run before, but it's common knowledge that I lost 150 pounds is running. Is how I did it originally. I wasn't a lifter, I was a runner. That's how I lost all that weight. But I literally ran my ass off, 150 pounds of ass. So, back to the glutamine. Back to the glutamine. I'm just going to ignore Ezekiel. I feel like he's just taunting me at this point. So I'm just going to ignore him. The glutamine. While I'm on that topic before I forget. Glutamine is used for gastrointestinal surgery and major burn victims. Why? Your intestinal lining, the cells of your intestinal lining love glutamine. They love it so much that they will not let any of it get through. They eat all of it. So because it's an amazing fuel source for those specific cells, and they absolutely love glutamine, they will pretty much consume all of it, like something like 98% of it. So even if you consume 50 grams of it, they're going to eat about 49 grams of it. And it's amazing for healing the gut lining, right? And so they notice post-surgery, if they do intestinal surgery and they load you up on huge amounts of glutamine powder, right? It speeds up the healing rate double or triple. So it's used in medical settings. But as far as a muscle building or muscle recovery supplement, it doesn't do anything orally, right? Who is your favorite OG fitness YouTuber? I don't remember. I don't know how are we defining OG at this point. I mean, I remember when Scoopy was like the only one, so he'd have to be because he was the only person I saw. I don't know. Him and Mike Shane were like the only two in existence or something. I don't know. I don't know that I have a favorite. I don't even think about it, to be honest. I can't pick a favorite because it's not something, I would just be lying. Since I don't really care about it, to have a favorite would be like, It'd be like me saying someone who doesn't use crayons to color. I ask you, what's your favorite color crayon? You'd have to just make something up. It's like, I don't really care. I remember Mike Chang teaching about calories in, it was a game changer. Right. 6-pack shortcuts. I think that's a fair answer when there's a topic you don't care about and someone asks you for a favorite, to just simply say, I don't care enough to have a favorite. And I think that's a fair answer. Mike Chang. It used to be the running joke. Mike Chang, a 6-pack shortcut guy who doesn't have a 6-pack. Right? He had a little bit of visible abs, but he didn't technically have what we would call a 6-pack. You know, so it's kind of funny. If you think about it, it's funny, actually. But is a great business model. because he was everywhere. He spent so much money on advertising, getting pimped everywhere. He was in all of our videos. You know, we all made ad revenue off of him, and then his whole name blew up and grew. Like, that was just a straight marketing, and it probably paid off somehow, or he wouldn't have spent that much on ad revenue. He had to be spending 10, 20 grand a month for ad revenue. So how much money was he making down the road? I guess selling the six-pack programs, and he had to be making some bank to justify the advertising expense. Thoughts on, I don't know what that means. Like full body every other day. I do full body 3 days a week right now. I don't think you need to time it every other day. You can build it around a 7-day calendar. I mean, sure, you can do that too. That's fine. Which YouTuber has the best physique? I don't know. Hattie James. She got that bootay. All right. Sorry, I had to answer without thinking off the top of my head. That's the first thing that popped in my head. I mean, it's impossible for a man to have as good of a physique as a woman. It's just not possible. We can't do it. Right? I don't know outside of that. How are we going to quantify best? I'm not sure. I don't follow YouTube fitness though, so it's not like I have a list of people to pick from. I mean, I make YouTube fitness. I don't actually follow or watch it. Only when I was doing the drama stuff back in the day, and it was honestly soul destroying. The money was good, but it was soul destroying. There's a guy called Ross Dickerson. I think he has the most aesthetic physique. Okay, fair. But for me to have an opinion, I'd need to know who they are. That makes sense? So since I don't watch YouTube fitness, you want me to pick the most aesthetic when I don't have pictures in front of me. That makes sense? So let's say there's a platform you don't watch. So let's say you don't follow Facebook, right? So you tell me I don't have a Facebook, and I say, who has the most aesthetic physique on Facebook? And you'd be like, I don't really look at Facebook. Would be your answer. See what I mean? I don't know who's on here anymore. So I can't make a comparative analysis. And I don't think there is such a thing as a best physique. I mean, you could look at someone and say, this person has a great physique. Unless it's a bodybuilding show with a point system, there's no best. To be honest, I'd choose strength and aesthetic, athleticism over aesthetics. You know, well, I think we should have all of it. That's another reason I'm doing the whole physique thing now. I don't think that we should have to pick and choose. What happened to fitness culture? Where did we go wrong in lifting culture to where we have these as separate categories? It's hard for me to assess with Jeff Side, having met him years ago, when he had that little tiff like he was going to hit me and all that. He just wasn't that impressive in person back then, but he could look a lot different now. He was just so small. Like, I thought, I was like shocked. He had popped off at me online when I saw him, and I'm like, dude, you could fit in my right leg. Like, he was just so, like, tiny. You know, so that's true, mate. They go hand in hand. I mean, so where did we go wrong? How did we go from the guys in the 40s, 50s, and 60s to where we are now? Okay. How did we go from Franco Columbo to, I don't care about how strong I am. I don't care if I have abs, as long, you know, I can have a big belly, you know. How did we go from Franco Columbo to where we are now? To where Franco Columbo is winning one of the Mr. Olympia categories. So Mr. Olympia, who's a professional boxer, who competed in the world's strongest man and was an elite power lifter. How did we go from Franco Columbu to bodybuilders saying, I'm not a weightlifter, I don't care how much I lift, to strength athletes going, I don't care if I look good or have a six-pack, or the rest of them, I don't care that I can't jump, you know. How did we get to this? No, I've never met Greg Doucette. Greg Doucette, last time I was doing any event stuff, wasn't actually a figure on here. So he's a latecomer. Greg Doucette's not an OG on the tubes. I've heard he's pretty short, yeah. But so are most of the pro bodybuilders, right? But no, I mean, we've got to ask that question, though, of the lifting and fitness world. How did we come to this point? Now, what would Steve Reeves have said about that? Right? Do you watch Strongman? Or no, I don't really follow it, no. I think it's a cool sport, but I just don't have time to watch any of it. I think it's cool. I like the idea. I used to watch, okay, so you're asking me currently or previously? I used to watch The World's Strongest Man every year when I was younger, over 20 years ago. Bill Kazmaier, you know. I loved the Kaz back in the day. Like he was the GOAT. But, you know, but let's come over to that other point while I'm on this rant. What would Steve Reeves have said about this current state of things? Think about someone like Steve Reeves, I mean, Mr. Universe. To anyone who said, oh, I want to pick and choose between being strong, aesthetic, athletic. I watched wrestling as a kid, yeah. It's Hulk Hogan, The Ultimate Warrior were my go-tos. Right? Sean Burbank, they got Mr. Roy. So, you know, but think about what would Steve Reeves have said? Guys like Steve Reeves were like, we should have a beautiful body. We should be strong, athletic, and healthy. We should be fit and healthy. This is about an expression of health. These guys all lifted. They all did different sports for fun. They all did cardio. They looked good. They were all strong. The old gym go hand in hand, and I think that's the point. So why we need a return to this? We have to get away from these hideous bodybuilding physiques. By the 80s, they were going wrong. You know. How many of those guys have things to say about it? Go back to even, take all the guys who were in the Pumping Iron movie. How many of them have been talked to later about the current state of more modern bodybuilding? And they're all like, they're horrified. They're like, what happened to what we were building? But even then, those guys are all athletes. You go watch that. You're watching Ken Waller and the other guy out on a football field throwing the football around. You know, they were athletic. They were all fit, they were all athletic, they were all strong. They didn't differentiate between, well, I'm a bodybuilder, so I shouldn't have a big, heavy deadlift. No. Yeah, they were all around, you know. So you go take any of those champion bodybuilders from the 50s, the 60s, or 70s, every one of them knew their max squat, bench, and deadlift. You're looking, every one of them did different cardio stuff. They messed with different sports. They were just generally athletic. These guys were just athletic. I'm not doing much running and jumping right now because I'm also 48 and at a higher body weight, but even part of me is going, you know, once I get leaner and I have the recovery to handle it, I should be doing more jumping and stuff. A little bit of plyo, some throws. I've got a plyo box, a big foam box. I've got a big heavy med ball. You know, right now I'm so dedicated to the huge amounts of cardio for this cut. But even I'm going, hey man, once this phase is over, I'm going to work on, again, more of that well-rounded silver to golden era physique. While I still have a big squat, bench, and deadlift, I need to be a little more athletic again. Let's throw stuff, let's jump. You know, but some of that, I got to be lighter. People come into that topic of running, not really an option right now. Maybe if I get to 190 pounds or 185, I might, but I'm going to be pretty ripped at that point. I don't know that barbell complexes are that good. I've done my share of them. I mean, I could just push my sled. I have a sled. So let's come over to all that. I mean, I have a sled, dude. I have a Rogue sled. I can go push that mofo if I need to. I don't need to do barbell complexes. Now let's do the real stuff. Push a sled. You jump on my box. I can throw my med ball later. You know, stuff I might work on more and more. You know. But yeah, Kevin says, remember flat sitting. Keep in mind though, man, that's a couple things with that squat. Number one, he does have a multiply suit on. Number two, it's been questioned if that was real weight. So just an FYI. Not saying Platts wasn't crazy strong or impressive. Just saying that particular feat has been in question for a long time. But that being said, Platts was definitely a genetic freak. He was definitely a workhorse. But no, we go back to the older eras, man. They were all, and I think Jamie Lewis termed that really well. It was fitness culture. It was physical culture. Physical culture. The fitness world's got to make a return to that. It's got to be about more than how much weight can I lift or how pretty is my bicep peak. We need to be looking at all of it. Remember when Athlete faked his deadlift? I called him on it. He got smoked very hard. He faked that bench and that deadlift the same place, that pin bench. So that's why I get miffed. You know, I bought calibrated plates so that I couldn't be accused of it, and people still accuse me of it. But then I walk into a meet and I'm like, dude, I just did a 496 squat in competition with the same quote unquote fake plates I do the other lifts on. And I only did a 495. So the heaviest lift I did in the weeks prior to the meet, I still beat it by 1 pound and set a master's record, state record. It's just, people are crazy. And I think people forget that too. You know, they'll see their certain gym lifts, and I get people who, they compare themselves to me who are really younger guys. And I'm looking at their gym lifts and I'm like, do you not understand the difference between a competition? Like, there's a lot of these guys who, I'm just saying, I'm not going to name names or what they're doing, you know, butt off the bench, elbow sleeves, elbow wraps, up and down to the bar with their 405 bench. At a full meet, and this kind of is a difference between even in a competition versus our gym lifts. In a full meet, none of that's allowed. You have to pause it. There can't be any up and down of the bar when you grind it. It cannot tip on either side. It's a disqualification. There's no sleeves, no wraps on your elbows, butt can't come off the bench. And that's well and good fresh. At a full meet, are you getting a fresh bench press, or did you get stapled under a 1 rep max squat first? And I think this is why I'm doing a lot of the let's train to failure on all the big lifts every workout. What happens in a competition? It's like, okay, great guys, you hit a whatever, you hit a 600 deadlift in the gym, fresh. All right, cool. So have I. What happens when you get to the platform? Bars floating towards your face, your triceps. Exactly. Right, well, I mean, the squats, yeah, I mean, even the squats in a powerlifting meet, squats is the first lift, so okay, fair play. But you got to hit depth on everything. And, you know, it's one thing to have that bench the way I described in the gym. It's another thing when they just got stapled on a squat, and now they got to set their arch up. Okay? They just got stapled under a max squat for their third attempt. It drove them into the ground, and the spotters pulled it off of them. Now they got to go set up that big arch on the bench that they've been doing fresh in the gym. Their back is fatigued, their lats are fatigued because they got stapled under a squat. They get to that bench, they're having to set that arch up they've been doing. They can't have the elbow sleeves. They have to pause it, and they're slightly unstable, and all of a sudden their half count pause or their brief pause or their bounce, the judges are making them hold it for 2-3 seconds because they're not used to doing it tight. You guys see where I'm going with this? Whole lot of these 405 influencers who are doing this other stuff, they get into a real meet, that 405 starts turning into 340 real fast. And then they do all that, and then they get to that deadlift. You got to grip that deadlift with just chalk. After you've done all that other stuff, you're fatigued from the bench. Your back is fatigued from the missed squat. Your back is fatigued from the arching on the bench. You've also, forearms are fatigued from the bench. Been watching you for years, JB, doing a good job, getting better with age. Appreciate it, Kevin. That's the idea, man. Hey, dude, I hope I inspire you with that. That's part of what I'm doing, too, with the longevity thing, man. I'm going to get fitter and healthier, get a good physique, still be strong, inspire people. You know, that's why I'm like at that last meet. People are like, Coach, you set a state record, but looked really easy. It looked like a warm-up, and then you went up 20 kilos and you missed it. I'm like, yeah, because I got stapled. I set a state record on the squat that day. I got stapled on my third bench attempt. So by the time I got to that final deadlift, man, I couldn't lock 619. I just didn't have it. They came off the floor. You guys saw the footage. Like, I pulled it fast, but I just couldn't follow through. So I got whatever that was at 574 was a state record. So I did that for a second, and it looked really easy, and it was easy. And I felt good. I thought I'd get the 619. I just didn't have it, though. No, you really, really have, man. Definitely inspire people. I appreciate it, brother. So, I mean, it's just one of those cases where that's exactly how stuff goes at a meet. I do feel like had I not gone for a state record on the squat and I would have passed, just took a knee on the third attempt on the bench and not got pinned, I probably would have got that 619. Coach, I noticed it's easier for women to hit an intermediate advanced squatted deadlift than men. No, it's not. Then we need to raise the intermediate. That one was just over two and a half years ago. I was 45, so yeah, 46, whatever. I'd need to go check. I put up the meet results, so I took a couple state records that day for the Masters, Texas Masters 2 men's 100 kilo. Again, I put up footage and then I put up the meet results. Like, I put up the certificate for the records before a few times. But yeah, I mean, even at that one, you know, that's just how stuff goes in a meet, guys. So again, another reason is kind of like everyone's like, dude, you're doing squat, bench, and deadlift to failure every workout. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing my sets to failure. Because even though I'm doing it for hypertrophy and even on this cut for rep work, when you're at a comp, you have to deal with that. You know, people are talking about fatigue, and it's like, but what about when you do a meet? You're literally hitting 3 different 1 rep max lifts, and there's a good chance you're getting stapled. Like, yeah, you have to deadlift under fatigue. You got to bench under fatigue, guys. So, you know, what do you think happens at a comp? So Chad, if it's easier, then we need to raise the numbers. Then that's clearly not intermediate or advanced for women. Then we need higher standards. If they're hitting it easier, it should be easier. All right. Those charts need to be adjusted. You want to know why it's perceived as easier? Do you feel any nerves? And meat's not the last one, no. No, I went in there just calm and chill. I just broed out with people the whole time. I didn't even watch the lifting, man. I just chatted with the coach bros in the back. The whole meet, and just chilled, socialized, hung out with a couple cool people, who are coaches and stuff I know. No, dude, I just do my thing, man. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Right? You know, it's just a meet, dude. You're just lifting weight. I learned to take that approach with it. We lift weights every day. Yeah, probably best way really take it to your strides. Just chill. And I've seen the same thing. I've watched some really serious strong lifters who I've seen. I watched another Masters guy. He was a much heavier guy. He was like 6'3" or something, weighing 280 or some crazy number. Big dude putting on plenty of gear. I watched him taking state records on the deadlift and stuff. In between, I chatted with him the day before, but during the meet, in between events, the dude laid there listening to music, snacking on his food, and laid down and listened to whatever music in his headphones and just chilled while sipping food, eating a little stuff, and laying down and taking naps. Watched the guy walk in deadlift like 750. You know, it was a Masters, like a Masters 1. You look at that and go, isn't that the way you should be approaching the meet? He was just kind of just zen, laying there, chilling, listening to his headphones, had his earbuds in, laying down, had a pillow with him, little spot on the floor, had a pillow to lay on, some blankets, and he just chilled out. You know? Coach was this man like a zen pretty much. You know? But he was a trainer. I've chatted with him a bit. He owned a gym and was a trainer at his own gym. Yeah, remember seeing Lennox Lewis used to listen to reggae and sleep before his fights. Yeah, why get all your nerves worked up? Why get all bent out of shape, man? Are you competition ready or not? What are you nervous about? Did you not prep for the event correctly? Did you not train for it correctly? Then that's the only reason to be worked up or be nervous, because you didn't do what you needed to do. If you did what you needed to do to get ready, then you just go compete and just be chill. Why waste energy and calories and cortisol doing anything else that day? I always thought that people expect energy they need during their psyching up before a lift, right? Wasting precious energy. I think that's another thing too, when people see me with the training to failure right now, but I'm calm. I think when people are thinking of failure, seeing the guy strain and grind and use bad form and they're shaking everywhere, I just do the set to failure. You get stapled, you get out from under it, calm, unload the bar, and re-put it back up on the hooks. Be calm, be cool. You know? In the era of pre-workouts and stuff, I think that's a problem. It was funny, coach, we didn't see you strain. No, you just see the weight slow and then I miss. So the last rep is a little slower usually, and then I just get stable. That's just it, we're done. Because I'm not psyched up. I intentionally am avoiding psyching up. I'm just lifting the weights with good form, and then when it fails, it fails. We hit failure, the weight stopped moving. Or I hit the pins on the squat or the bench press. Just rode it to the pins. All right, get out from under it and reload the bar. But that's the thing, people expect this big dramatic thing and they're like, well, that's not failure then. Like, really? I lifted the weights until I missed a rep and it just stuck at the bottom. Whether it's on the pins or the weight stuck on the curl, or some of the curls you see me try the rep and it comes up and it just comes a third of the way and I just can't do it. It's done. The dips, when I get to a rep where I just stick at the bottom and I can't crack up out of the bottom, we just drop to the floor. You know, same thing with pull-up or a chin-up. As soon as you do a rep where you just can't get out of the bottom without swinging, that's failure. But then these same people, I can't replicate my sets. And they think I'm crazy saying we can. I'm like, how much energy did you expend on those psych ups? How much fatigue did you create from the psych up? How much is that fatigue affecting you the next day between your workouts? Same thing. Coach, why are you just doing the list cardio intense stuff? Because I'm burning through huge amounts of fat without beating my recovery into the ground. You know where we are now on the cardio, by the way, Peppermint? We're in bonus cardio. It's 8 in the morning. I've done over 3 hours, you know. We're in bonus cardio land now. Feeling good. Long walks are amazing. Kevin, I've done over 3 hours of walking already this morning, fasted. This is how we get lean, right? Coach, just ate my frosted mini wheats and my Greek yogurt. Man, you and your frosted mini wheats, man, you're gonna give yourself the beatus. Coach was up early. We were. Frosted mini wheats and squares. No, that's not how we get lean, my friend. You're gonna have some metabolic dysfunction if you're not careful long term there. You don't need all that. You don't need all that refined sugar. You use some brown rice and sweet potatoes. I'm just messing with you. I know you are. I'm not going to get riled up. I'm pretty calm right now. I'm past 3 hours of fasted cardio. I'm just kind of now in that, how do I put it? You know, I don't know how to describe it. I'm in that state where my body is just kind of zenned out right now. I'm just kind of in my flow. I'm like, dude, we've done over 3 hours of fasted cardio and I'm still just trucking along. We think of microplastics and how they, problem is you can't avoid microplastics. So here's the thing. Should we care as a society about microplastics? Yes. Can you avoid them now? No. You're exposed. There's no way out of it. I kept up with the training vlogs, but I couldn't join your live recently. How's the training going? It's going, man. We're trucking along, right? We're trucking along nicely. After this walk, I'm gonna go weigh in though. Maybe I'll get a whoosh, maybe I won't. I'm not even gonna stress the whooshes. I'm getting leaner, my waist is getting smaller, the scale hasn't been moved in 2 weeks. I don't even care. I know I'm in a deficit. I know I'm losing fat. Yeah, it's scary, but I guess you'd have to literally wrap yourself up. Except there might be microplastics in the bubble too. Squat and deadlift day for me. We can offset by being healthy. You can just offset by being healthy. Wide stance power squats might be coming back from me. Nice, Peppermint. Get in and just get them done. Nothing to do but do it. You know, which is kind of why I make the point about the other junk. You're like, we're exposed to enough environmental toxins and other stuff. Just eat healthy foods, man. We don't need to add to it by our calorie sources themselves being additionally unhealthy. Are you doing 4 times or 3? What do you mean? Geo, doing what? You be very specific. Doing what 4 times? Yesterday I did 210 flat bench for 11 paws at 175. That's pretty decent. That's pretty good, man. Pretty good. Oh, I'm lifting 3 days a week full body right now. So I'm just focusing on the cardio and just doing the full body again. Doing old school, very old school bodybuilding training. So I've already kind of been studying a lot of the silver and golden era physiques and how they got there. And that's going to be the goal with this cut. What did you see all at Coach Bench yesterday, Lester? I did flat back, wide grip. I did 3 sets of 12 with 225. After failing 3 sets of squats. Got stapled 3 times on the squat on purpose, and then I did deadlifts and I did the bench. So I did a set of deadlifts to failure. Everything's a failure right now. Say what you want about Blaha. He's the only YouTuber I've learned anything from. That's true. Appreciate it, Lester. I mean, people can say what they want, and they will say what they want, and they're gonna say stuff because people like to be haters. But I teach people, I help people. I hate training only 3 times a week. It's good for my mental health. I'm doing so much cardio, dude. 3 times is all I can really need. I'm avoiding overuse, inflammation, everything. I'm able to train really hard since I have a day between every workout to focus on cardio. So it's working for me with this deficit because, again, although my legs are shrinking and my squats getting weaker. So I might throw some sissy squats in just for the quad work. 36 reps and 225 for 3 sets is solid work, Coach. Thank you. And keep in mind, it was all flat back with pinkies just outside the ring, so a nice wide grip. It felt good. My chest got lit up. Just stop doing YouTube. Don't let the haters get. I mean, when has the haters ever got to me? They're not even going as hard as they did at one time. Like, the haters don't even know how to. They're losing motivation. I mean, I don't want to say that because when I said that the other day, they picked it up a hair. But, I feel like they've gone as hard as they can, and I'm still here. Just don't ever stop. That's true. The main thing is just keeping them out of, no access to my personal life. So that's really the key for me, is to keep my personal life completely off the internet. Because they don't have anything, They have nothing to work with. So now they have to just make up stuff. So then their narrative gets further and further and further from the truth. And they don't know how to handle it when they don't have access to any part of my life. I've noticed that, If everything I discuss now is just training and I don't even discuss other topics, the only Blaha anybody has access to is training and nutrition. No, it doesn't. GeoMarco, no, new channel doesn't help the algorithm at all. That's not how it works. I already have an established base with them with a verified channel with all the tools available. It actually would not be productive at all. I don't know if anyone about Nietzsche remind me of. I'm not a Nietzsche fan. I did a research paper on Nietzsche in college. I'm not a big Nietzsche fan, honestly. But yes, I know quite a bit about Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche. Nietzsche. No, just starting a new channel is not wise as a solution at all. Especially when I have tools and certain stuff. I said I have to do stuff different to get the traction and the views. It's not the problem with my content or the channel. It's that I'm not doing the type of content that's getting out there for people, But I also have to how do I put it? I've got to get leaner. The physique has to be on point. I'd say that's held me back more than anything, is just not getting lean, and everybody knows that, right? We're now in a fitness world where I do need to be lean to get real outreach. No amount of good content will make up for that, quality information. No, I didn't major in philosophy. Eternal reoccurrence, becoming who you are, right? My favorite thing about Nietzsche was this whole thing of calling the Das Man, right? The they. Like, he made fun of people who, and we really should, because then that is carried over to me with my own stuff. He used to make fun of that idea that people would say. So here's an example. They don't want you to eat carnivore because they know that they want to keep you sick by eating carbohydrates. And by they telling you saturated fat is bad, they are making you sick and keeping you reliant on big medicine. Okay? What would Nietzsche say about that bullshit? Right? So anytime people say they like that, anytime they start a sentence with any sort of conspiracy or idea, they want. Okay? Nietzsche had a field day with that. He made fun of people so much for that. Like, essentially, he referred to that as a slave mindset. I'll give him credit for that. That's solid. Because that did, and I don't like a lot of his stuff, but that always stuck with me. Pure muscle preserved gain on a cut. So not satiety or the same metabolic. Do you think even on a cut 1.5? I can't, Gio, I can't handle that right now. I'm sorry, dude. I'm over 3 hours fasted cardio. That's just too, you're asking me to do math, and I just can't do it, sorry. No offense. Yeah, you're right. He would have said herd mentality. Yeah, you know. But people always do that. They're trying to do this. It's like, well, who is they? You better be able to know who the they is. But when it's just a they, or they'll say the pharmaceutical industry. What? You think the pharmaceutical industry is one individual, it's one collective? You don't think it's 20 different companies that compete with each other? Sorry for off topic. Yeah, I'm not going to get into all that. The versions of the Bible. I haven't been reading it lately. I've read the whole thing. I just, I like them individual verses. I don't even care which version, NIV, King James, whatever. Yeah. Do you have any other philosophers? I don't like Nietzsche. So what do you mean other ones that I like? I don't remember all of them. I mean, I studied all the classic works. You know, I don't know that I have any that I like at all. They're just different philosophers with different ideas you could look through just to make you think. Can you tell that I'm over 3 hours fasted with an answer like that? You guys will notice this is a moment where I don't actually care about anything at all. That's what 3 hours of fasted cardio does in the morning. I'm just like, that's cool, man. No, I don't really care. I don't even remember all the philosophers. I've read all the major works, had to do papers and reports. I took like 12 hours of philosophy. I made A's in all of it. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with some extent to Stoicism. I can appreciate it the most. We may be losing the connection though, guys. It's giving me 1 bar. Where's my phone at? 38%. Coach, I asked you that. Coach, I think you said, yeah. Yeah, if I had to lean in a direction, probably Stoicism. You know, to some extent. Right? Well, also from a Nietzschean perspective. I feel like lifting can be justified from even a hedonism, though, because it improves your quality of enjoyment of life. I agree with that. Except here's the problem. Hedonism doesn't do well with delayed gratification. It would be the counter argument. Lifting is something that pays off more long term. Hedonism is more of in the moment. Yeah, I also guess you're more stoic from your output and things you say. I mean, I care about pragmatism, really. I'm a very pragmatic person. You know, is there a practical, and I enjoy hypotheticals and I delve into them, but I'm looking for a practical application at the end of the day. Can we improve any aspect of our life or what we're doing with this information? Is it just increasing the general body of knowledge, or is it practical? True, but I think people confuse that because a real hedonist would recognize that delayed gratification grants more pleasure overall. And maybe in theory, if you're going for the most happy, pleasurable life, I mean, that is fair, right? That's fair. But it doesn't fall within the concept of hedonism, because there are a lot of stuff we could argue about would produce the most long-term happiness, but they're not hedonistic. Hedonistic is a tendency, whereas you're thinking of a full, longer philosophy. So by its definition, that doesn't work. I mean, we could argue hedonism would be to, you know, have sex with as many partners as you can. Whereas then we would argue a really good monogamous relationship that's ideal would probably produce more long-term happiness, right? I don't need to estimate my IQ. I'm not going to give it because people get angry and troll and clown and make a big deal. I know literally what my Stanford Binet is because I've had a Stanford Binet. But I'm not going to give the number online again, because it literally turns into a troll fest. Literal hate videos and memes made about the exact number, so I'm just going to move on. I've had a Stanford Binet. I'm kind of insulted. Wow, I guess I come across very unintelligent relative. 105. Ooh. You can also be a Christian and hedonist, which is well, same thing. Those who know IQ can gauge where you are, coach. I mean, if people are guessing within the first standard deviation, they're clearly not paying attention. I think that's fair, Peppermint. Yeah. Let's put it this way. My Stanford Binet qualifies me for Mensa, even though I don't want to be in it. Because it was an official Stanford Binet done by a psychiatrist with a PhD. So, and I'll just leave it there. I qualify for Mensa. All right. So, yeah. Which is a superior range, that's what I guess, right? Well, I mean, I definitely have an outside the box thinking pattern, which people catch on. But IQ is really nothing more than processor speed. It's just the speed of your CPU, for the most part. How quickly we process data across multiple spectrums and modalities, because it's an average, right? You're gonna have different fields. Man, it's been a good session. I'm worried it's gonna cut out though. Switching between 1 to 2 bars. Where's this one at? We're at 90 minutes. Where we're at. I'm trying to even do the math at this point when I'm kind of fatigued. So we are, what, 3 hours and 10 minutes deep? I believe that's correct. Coach, the screen's going dark, so the phone's getting warm. So it might be time to work on getting back to the house. I want to get this phone charged up. If I do another, I might just do some Facebooks, or I'll sit down later, do the bike. I don't know yet. But I'm going to be curious. I can walk us out a little longer. I'm not that far from the house. Let's see if we can come to the shadier area and see if we'll keep a connection. It's going 1 to 2 bars, but I don't think it's going to hold for some reason. Plus, I'm near my house, which is more of a dead zone on this sometimes. Yeah. But we're definitely in bonus cardio, so that's good. Anyway. So yeah, we might Facebook up the next ones. German man, what's up, Joe? How you doing, Joe? So I'll go a few more minutes, but then I'm going to need to definitely get this one wound down. Like I said, we're past 3 hours, so that's a lot for 2 walks. But I'll take the win. Again, we have burned a ridiculous amount of body fat, hopefully. I'm saying ridiculous, it's probably not a ridiculous, it's a little bit. A little bit. Mainly I just want to walk a little further to sweat a little more out because I want to see the way in. I am hoping we lost something. But we might not have. I also want to walk till I feel like I need to pee. Although the views are really low right now, so I don't know that it's justified to push this walk out. I could always hit my other platforms up. I need to get a second Facebook profile in so I can make a reel because I need it for my creator badge for the week. We got to be a rising creator on everything, right? All right. Yeah, this phone doesn't have a lot of battery left either. Oh, there, it just went to 3 bars. All right. But I do feel confident that I will get 4 hours of walking in this morning because this wasn't that bad. This was easy, although I'm a little lightheaded. I'm just tucking into some Greek yogurt, keep myself anabolic. There you go. Stay anabolic. Although, is it really about all the protein? I mean, I always point that out. Past a certain protein threshold, there's nothing particularly anabolic about protein. Carbohydrates, healthy fats have their own anabolic potential benefits. The healthy fats more on the back end, though, because of the improvement in insulin sensitivity. So that's its own topic that I always feel like it's hard for us to balance with the nutrition end of the insulin response and the training fuel of the carbohydrate relative to the improved insulin sensitivity and reduced inflammation from those healthy fats. Coach says, I get an older female client that I have cutting saturated fat out, and her husband is telling her that when she cooks, you don't go to changing the ingredients of your recipes now. Yeah, her husband needs to eat a dick. All right. How long did it take you to hit what? I don't know. I haven't benched 405 since I was in my 20s. I don't remember. I have no idea. I couldn't even estimate how long it took me. A while. How's that for an answer? It took a while. It took years. I haven't touched anywhere near a 405 since I was like 27. So it's been a bit. Doesn't even matter. All right. That husband sounds a bit controlling if he Well, I don't think he's necessarily being controlling. Maybe he's saying it, well, don't go change I like your recipes. He's an older guy. He's set in the ways and likes her food. So, is he saying it just like that, or is he saying it really upset about it? So there's 2 different things between the controlling. But that the husband sounds a bit, yeah. So, a lot of ways you could go with that. But he needs to not interfere with her fitness, though. That's important, right? That's an. Almost feel like I need to find a way to walk it out a few more just to hit an even 100. I'm almost at my house though. Why do we even need to hit an even 100? What is, how many? I got to do the math on this later. No, we're not where I thought I was. Okay. All right. Is 5 to 10% healthy fat of total calories still good for optimal health performance? I don't know that we can give a percentage like that, honestly, Chad. I don't know that we can narrow it down to percentages like that. And that's the problem, is we don't really have a good number. Like, how do we want to weigh out the benefit of starchy carbohydrates with healthy fats? I'm going to cut to about 190, Ezekiel. I'm 211 right now. That's what I'm down to. I'm going to go to about 190.